Good evening, everyone. Jose J. Garcia, real estate investor, coach, and mentor. So another Sunday coaching series this evening, Q&A. People have been asking about it, and while I will not be able to get through all these questions, but I'm going to answer them as quickly as I can. Back to, question fire kind of thing, So if you do have any other questions, just drop them on the comments. I will check periodically as I'm going through these as well. But these are the most common questions asked. And, you can keep on email us, j@garciamhu.com. Any questions, of course, if you're doing coaching, you don't need to wait on that. We will start a lot more of the coaching one-on-one probably February the 1st. We'll put some advertisements on that as well. This time of year is where we focus a little bit more on the whole rehabs, the purchase and selling, setting agreements. We got so many JV partners, investors. Of course, we're dealing with hard money, private money lending, and then we do have a column on our credit cards as well. But a lot of things are happening. So bottom line is, right now what I want to cover is a Q&A, which I have not done in a while. Man, I think the last Q&A I had was probably 3 or 4 months ago. We used to do one every other month, with all the questions. And I know a lot of my team is answering a lot of these emails. So really the only questions that get to me are the ones that they cannot answer directly, or maybe something that they constantly see over and over. And the reason behind that is because I do make a lot of reels, a lot of shorts, a lot of TikToks, a lot of videos, a lot of education, always adding value and trying to answer the question for one person to all of y'all at one time. So that's what we kind of shoot for. But so I'm going to just go down the chart at this time and ask them. Like I said, if you have your own questions, just ask them. Stay towards the end because I do have a few announcements as well. We're traveling, so there's an opportunity we can meet as well. All right, so let's get started. So question number one, where do you send your tenants to do backgrounds? That depends. Most community parks, well, I'm not going to say most of them, but a lot of community parks have their own background screening, and so therefore you cannot send them anywhere but them, and they're pretty strict. We have one park in Warner Robins that they take a long time, and that the unfortunate side with a background taking a while is that people lose their interest. So that actually has backfired on us a couple of times where the buyer says, well, I've done bought somewhere else because I needed to move in a hurry. But, so we send them to the screening, to the offices if that's where they do it. If not, you can use rentprep.com. That's a pretty good system. Just make sure you use the criminal and, of course, other credit. I'm not going to get into that right now, but rentprep.com as well. You can also send them to a local police department and make sure they get a renter's background. They can go in and get a renter's background, and that'll suffice that, give you all the details you need. Okay. Where can I find contractors? Let me know. Let me know when you do. Craigslist, Facebook, LetGo, OfferUp, Classified, Home Depot, Lowe's. I mean, everywhere, everywhere. It's not so much as to where you can find them, is, how can you interview them? So I'm going to put that one is how should you interview them and how you should hold them accountable. But even more is how you pay them, because how you pay them is going to make the biggest difference. You pay some of these contractors 2,000 to 3,000 up front, and I'm going to show up. I can tell you that right now. So, and I'm not talking negative about them, but it's not so much where you find them as it is how much you screen them and how much you hold them accountable. So kind of keep that in mind. Okay, next one is I have 2 mobile homes I want to buy, but they have no title. Should I buy anyway? Yes, no. I mean, due diligence, you have to do due diligence first and all. So meaning that you have to find out exactly it's the one why they don't have a title. If it's an older mobile home, 20 years or older, and you're talking about maybe in the state of Alabama, I'd say that doesn't really matter. Go ahead and buy it with the bill of sale. But anywhere else, I would say you probably need to go ahead and find out who it is that the last person was, create a bill of sale, and maybe go through a bond title, which, we've taught a few lessons on that as well, is bond titles do replace and obviously, save the headaches. So if the due diligence checks out, go for it. I have 4 vacant pads in my mobile home park. That's my park owner. I have 4 vacant pads in my mobile home park, but the city won't allow any more mobile homes to be brought in. That's not good. Any idea how to bypass the city rules? No, you don't bypass them. Um, there is some parks that we've tried to replace mobile homes in the past. And before we do bring them some newer mobile homes, they're glued, the park owners are glued to this idea. I don't want the old homes. Take the old homes and bring me new ones. So I slow them down just a tad bit. And I ask them, have you checked with the city, with the building inspection, with the department, and asked them, can I replace mobile homes or bring additional mobile homes in here? What happens is a lot of times is some of these cities, they will not allow additional mobile homes to come into the community. What happens also is if you remove one, you cannot replace it, which means there's no grandfather law in there anywhere. You remove a mobile home, that's it. That pad will not do anything else again, which means it's obviously cutting your revenue. So something like that, that sounds like what has happened is I have 4 vacant pads in my mobile home park. The city won't allow me to move. I'd say send demand letters to the city, ask them. One way I like to position myself to that, and we've helped a couple of park owners this way into growing their parks. They had 20 pads, went on to 30, 40 pads because they had the room. Is basically put it as the need of. It's not about me, it's not about you. It's about the people that need the affordability housing. Please let me provide these pads so we can bring additional houses. There's all how you position. So demand from the city. All right. How can I how can I track a previous mobile home owner listed on a title? Yeah, that's a hard one. The problem with a lot of these mobile homes, and we see it a lot, especially in these communities, is that somebody will sell to somebody who they give them a title, but they don't go and register. It means they don't actually transfer the title into the new owner's name. And what happens is then they may sell it to somebody else, but they only use a bill of sale. Then somebody sells it to somebody else and somebody else. That continues to be a chain of constant sellers, but nobody really ever put the title in their names. So now you have 6, 7 buyers later. Now you're trying to figure out who owns the title, or actually has still their name on the title. I would say visit the city, the county. So it depends on the state at where you're at. QPublic.net is a good source for that. You can kind of track it and see who's the owner. And they just kind of you may need to get creative on something like that. But again, if somebody sells you the mobile home without a title, create a bill of sale, and that's step one to creating a bond title. I would probably go about it that way before I spend days, weeks, and all kinds of times trying to track a previous buyer. One thing about that, even if you do track a previous buyer, they may not be cooperative. They may say, I got nothing to do with that. So it's a whole waste of research. All right. I'm new to mobile home investing. You mentioned single wides over double wides, but I have a great deal on a double wide. Okay. Should I avoid it and only focus on single wides? I don't ever pass up on a good deal. I don't care what it is. It could be, precious metals, maybe. It doesn't matter. If you have a good deal in your hands, go for it. I said go after, and you're new investors, so I get it. Okay. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, single wides, metal on metal. Those are the absolute best to invest in. Bottom line. Double wides are bigger, a little more roomier most of the times, but it does not mean double the worth of the revenue, even though it is typically double the expenses on the rehab, the material, the holding, etc. So that's the reason I say go over single wides versus double wides. If there is a double wide that is a good deal, which I have a lot of double wides out there, then go for it. It just has to check it on the number sheet. Okay. No park managers want to work with investors in my area. Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Never heard of her. They only want the homeowners asking living in the mobile home park. Any suggestions? So the park managers you're dealing with, they don't want any investors in the area. This Wauwatosa, I can't pronounce that city in Wisconsin. Never heard of it. I've done no business in Wisconsin whatsoever, so I couldn't list it anyway. So it's all how you pitch. I would have to hear your pitch to see what you're saying to them. A lot of times, a lot of park managers do not understand you as an investor, or maybe they do understand because they've dealt with certain investors, and the investors that came by kind of ruin it for everybody. We see that quite often. But as far as all they want is homeowners, well, that's plenty fine. What you can do is actually buy the mobile home, put it in your name, pretend that you're going to, in a sense, pretend that you're going to be the resident. And until you rehab it. You rehab it, make it beautiful, live-in ready, etc. And when it's time to sell, they can't tell you can't sell. I'm going to sell it. Now, the fact that I may offer financing, for instance, that's irrelevant. Wells Fargo can do it, BB&T can do it, I can do it. It doesn't matter. You're offering financing, but whoever gets the mobile home after you will be an owner. They're just financing from you. So that's the way I would approach something like that. Consistency. Just keep following up. All right. Do you have hard money lenders we can use for mobile home investing? We got a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of people who invest, and not just hard money lenders. We got private money lenders. We got individuals that do all the type of investing with real estate, like to lend on mobile homes if the numbers check out. Notice what I said there. The numbers. If the numbers check out, that's all they care about. One thing about it is when I first started pitching to, which took me a long time, it took me a long time for me to feel comfortable with pitching to anybody about money, because the way I always approached it was I felt like I was asking for money. Like I was almost begging for money. Will you please let me borrow money to invest? And it took a coach to come in and say, what you're offering is opportunities. you're not asking anybody anything. If nothing more, you're taking their money and you're putting it to work. You're going to create them return on their investments that otherwise they wouldn't get. So that was a real eye opener and something like that. So, lenders are out there everywhere. You just got to find them. But, don't forget we have the credit card, how to use credit cards to invest in mobile homes coming up January 18th, which we'll announce it at the end as well. So that will be another avenue for you. All right. Let's see. Would you invest in a mobile home with liens? Man, y'all are on tonight. Liens. No. Yes. No and yes. So you got to find out what the lien is from. If an individual does not pay for their personal property, that's what mobile homes are, personal property, and you have to pay for them every year. You have to re-register them, kind of like a vehicle. If you do not pay for year number one, they typically give you a fee. There's some charges, etc. You come back year number two, and if you do not pay, then it typically is the same thing. After it, and I say that because every city, county is different, so you have to check. But after so many years, and here in the state of Georgia, it's 2 years. After 2 years, if you do not pay, they go on a tax sale, but they also put a lien on it. That's a pretty easy lien to get rid of. You basically pay the bill and you're good to go. If there's another lien because of maybe there was a bank involved, some issues with the transfers of title, something got lost, there's a lot of things that can kind of go in there. So I would say do an extra thorough due diligence on the lien and figure out exactly what it is that it's got that lien. And if you cannot clear it with ease, really, I would say it's probably not worth your while. Leave it as is. Okay. Trying to buy a mobile home to move, but no title again. Okay. Called courthouse. They said the home and land combined. Okay. So you try to buy a mobile home, but it's part of the land, which is part of the deed, which is part of the land package. So here's what happens when you bring a mobile home outside of a mobile home park and you put it on an individual piece of land. You can do what's called a retire the title. When you retire the title, you're letting the city and basically let everybody know that that mobile home will never, ever be moved again. You can make it stationary forever to be there, and it becomes part of the land. That's what we call land packages. Now, the beautiful thing about that is, and I toss this in there, is you can add value that way. So instead of comping that mobile home now to other mobile homes, you can actually comp them to real estate because there's land involved. Now, there comes a day when you say, well, no, I do want to move it, but I already retired the title. So what do I do now? Well, as long as that title is retired, you cannot move the mobile home. So what happens is you have to go back to the city, back to the county, whether you did this or not, that's irrelevant. Maybe you bought it this way. And you go to them and you let them know that I will be moving that mobile home. So I want to re-register a title. So now they're going to take it out of retirement, take it out of the deed, and print you a new title. Once you get that, you can move the mobile home. So it sounds like a lot more steps than it is. It's not. Okay. Do you use skip tracing to find sellers? No, not really. I mean, you can, maybe park owners, I would. Individual sellers, no, because again, you could be tracing somebody that is no longer involved with the mobile home, or maybe they sold it 2 decades ago, but the name is still on there. So I wouldn't waste my time with that unless it's something specific you're trying to locate for. So, I'll leave that up on you. I've seen a few mobile homes on the property being sold at tax auctions, but I've seen a few mobile homes on the property being sold at tax auctions, but was told there was some rule about can't resell for cheap. Oh, yeah. Some of these states and cities, I know Texas, and I could be wrong, we're not in Texas yet, but I want to say that in Texas, they have like a 5-year, 3-year, or something like that where you cannot sell a property. So if you buy it on a tax auction, like it's basically the same thing I just said a few minutes ago, tax sale at the steps of the courthouse. A lot of these states, a lot of these cities have an X amount of time where you have to own them. I hate that, where you have to keep it as you being the owner, whether you do anything with it, and what happens is they do that to give the previous owner the chance to come back and claim it. And see, they explain all this to you at the tax sales. They let you know that, hey, in the event that the original owner comes back and they claim it, you technically have to give it up, but they will have to pay you for the money you paid plus some interest. I think it's bogus. There's all kinds of, I don't like this. So what happens is you're not allowed to sell it. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. That's real property they're talking about. That's a house, that's a condo, that's a piece of land. They can do it on those. Mobile homes are personal property, so they cannot do that on those. A personal property, a mobile home that you buy at the tax sales, you can sell it the same day, tomorrow, or a week later if you want. That's irrelevant because it's like a car, boat, or motorcycle. Those rules do not abide by the same rule regulations under the real estate, whatever. Anyway, let's move on. So how do you keep a budget so low on your rehabs? I've estimated a few and got really high numbers. I say it takes a team to invest in rehab mobile homes. And I say a team because one person should be focusing on material. If all you do is run to Home Depot or Lowe's, every time you go into a rehab mobile home, you're going to run out over your budget real quick. Now, I'm not saying go find used junk to put into your mobile homes. We are going to deliver a presentable and livable mobile home, but it does not mean you cannot get creative. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, Let Go, OfferUp, Classified, all these places you can find material. And I don't mean just browse all day long for a toilet. I'm saying, how about going on there and posting for somebody? We have a lot of people many times who what they'll do is they'll rehab their house, maybe a couple bedrooms in their home or whatever it may be. And contractors are notorious for leaving material. Yes, material behind in their garage, or they let them know, hey, I'll come back a couple weeks and pick it up, and they never show back up. They're off to the next job, and is what it is. So now these people are kind of stuck with, now I have sheetrock or plywood or material in my living room or in my garage, and I can't do anything with it. A lot of times these people do not like to post on social media. Hey, I have X amount of material. They don't want people over. But if you go and post some of these ads, hey, I'm rehabbing a mobile home. I could use some lumber. I could use some sheetrock, some cabinets. Something you just make a list. It is more likely that these people will reach out to you and say, hey, I got some material you can have, free material. And that's just one strategy. Habitat for Humanity. What do they got? The Salvation Army. They, so many places where you can invest. So it's, to keep your numbers low, you have to have the right team, the right contractor who knows how to rehab mobile homes, and not just focusing on numbers like real estate properties, and the right material. All right, hope that one helps. As a new mobile home investors, what is the best exit strategy I should focus on? I don't want that. I get that question asked a lot. I don't know because I don't know you. So I don't know if you have background within real estate and you've done some of this, maybe I should point to something different. If you have money, you can put into certain exit strategy and hold. It depends on that, but you can't go wrong with wholesale. So if you're going to come into mobile home investing and you're new to, I would say probably be a bird dog, connector, and wholesale. Later on, if the more you get comfortable with, the more you learn about mobile homes, you can become a landlord. You can create notes, finance, flips, Airbnb, Section H, just kind of grow into that. Okay. Best place to find motivated sellers. Let's do deals on Tuesday. Come on my call on Tuesday. I'm very motivated to sell. Okay. But other than that, you got Craigslist again, you got Facebook, and again, post these ads. Don't spend so much time browsing. I know there's some deals out there. You can make deals, and some of you tell me I'm the best negotiator. Yeah, maybe you are. And if you are, then great. You can negotiate and you can make them into deals. But still, I would rather spend more time focusing on blasting social media ads versus focusing on trying to find ads. Okay. I heard I'm moving pretty quick. Good deal. I've heard you say you can get negotiate lot rents with mobile home park managers. How low should I try to get that? All right. So I've heard you say you negotiate lot rents with mobile home park managers. How low should I try to get them to? Okay. So when I said that, let me clear what I've said in something like that. I never said I negotiated them down. What I said is I negotiated them for a period of length of time. So what it means is, let me give this example. Albany, Georgia. We bought quite a bit down there. As a matter of fact, that's where we have Airbnbs. Lot rent was $250 when we started, $250. And I know some of y'all, depends on where you're at, you're thinking $250, that's it. Well, the lot rent now, I believe, is $350. So it's going up, it's gone up. And the $250 include the water, the trash, and the lawn care. So yes, it's a golden ticket there. But what happens is when we initiated the agreement with the park owners and the park managers, they said, all right, Jay, so typical as we always ask, here's the X amount of mobile homes you can invest in, but for 5 years, you cannot move them off the park. Now that's common, actually. That's very common to agree. As a matter of fact, I push mobile home park owners because I do coach park owners is to make sure you also secure people from just not buying the home and pulling it out of there. You don't want to deal with that. So put some type of lien on it, some type of lease agreement so that you have. And I know it can be a little gray area, but when they said 5 years you can't move them, I said, okay, well, that's fine. But for 5 years, I don't want my lot rent to go up. Done. They said that's a deal. So that's how I negotiated that. And I try to do that with every park owner, park manager. If I come into a new community, obviously with my credibility, I may say, hey, as I'm getting started, Is it possible that I can get a month, 30 days, or maybe 60 days, 2 months where I don't have to pay lot rent? Let me get started. Let me get my team in here, et cetera, and we get the ball rolling. It is not always a negotiation, and it is not something you can demand. But if you're new to mobile home investing, I would say you probably want to avoid from that anyway. Build your credibility first, get your foot in the door, and then start asking for favors as such. All right. Is it possible to know if contractors are over quoting me based on the duty or repair? 9 out of 10 chances, yes, they are each and every time. They will overcharge you. They will take longer than they should, and they will basically get you to push them until they get the job done. The unfortunate side is that, and there's some very good contractors out there. There is, I work with some that are phenomenal. I mentioned on these calls where, I can call Greg. Greg, go out and check this property. I don't have to tell him what it needs. He knows what I'm expecting on each and every one of my properties, and he knows what type of rehab we do. To get to that level, I've had to go through, well, we've had ups and downs, no doubt. There's been times when we parted ways and reconnected. So, it's just you build that business relationship. But, if you do not know what something costs, one, I would say get more than one quote. Get maybe two, maybe three minimum contractors or handymans to give you a quote. Once you give you that quote, you kind of get the idea what it should be. But even so, always take into account, and this is why it'll help you a lot to go out there and try to learn, because one thing is see what the job actually entails of. If we walk into one bedroom and it needs a small little section of flooring replaced, for instance, this is common sense, a very small, simple area where it's a little soft. All that takes is one little section cut out, put lumber, and I know this sounds easier said than done, but so it's not a whole lot of work and it's not a whole lot of material. If a contractor knows that you're new, and I would never tell a contractor, hey, I'm new to this, you're just asking to be taken advantage. They're going to say, well, I need to replace the whole flooring, the insulation under there, the carpet. They add up all this list and they say it's $800. That's about $150 worth of job. So, you just got to kind of know these things. So, maybe take somebody that knows how to do some of this stuff as well. All right. What are the last questions? So how can I figure out what mobile homes are selling? Figure out what mobile homes are selling, move-in ready on the market. Okay, so comping them like. So how can I comp? I was talking to an investor the other day, and that's one of the things he was struggling with. And he was trying to spend time trying to find them on social media or on some of these sites. So here's the thing about mobile homes, especially in community parks. There is no real way of comping them. They don't go on Zillow, Trulia, FMLS, all these sites, So what happens is you have to do you have to be boots on the ground, and you have to make some phone calls. One of the best people to call is going to be a park manager. They're out there. A lot of them even live there. So they know what's sold in the past 30, 60, 90 days. Call them and ask them, hey, what is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single wide, double wide, whatever you're trying to find out, so that you can get some comparables. If you can get some pictures, obviously some idea what it looked like, that's even better, because obviously you want the closest of comparable to be. All right. Let's see. Questions on y'all's end. I got a lot more, but we're going to stop it at that because it's 8:30. So that's pretty good. I answered about 30 questions back to back. We used to have a lot more of these Q&As, question fires, the way we call them. So a lot of people joining us. Good evening. This is my first time here. Well, Ben, I hope it is not the last time, sir. Hope to see you here on a lot more. So welcome. All right, a couple announcements. If you have any questions, drop them on the chat. You know that. And let me go ahead and put it on the chat as well. If you do have any questions I didn't cover this evening, I promise I will get to it, whether it's through an email or I create a video where I answer for everybody. So my email is on the chat as well. January 18th, I'm going to make some reels. I'm going to go live on this. Okay. Y'all need to take advantage of this one call. I don't know if I'm going to do it much more. It is actually the 3rd time I've done this call in the past 6 years. Credit cards, how to use credit cards. Somebody on here asked about hard money or private money lending. Credit cards are a great source to also use to invest. Beautiful thing about credit cards is that you can invest fully. A lot of people say, well, how can I buy something if it entails a cash? Obviously, I can't swipe my card. Well, part of what the way we're going to be teaching you is we're going to show you how to link your cards to certain systems where it will give you cash advance. And I'm not talking about the cash advance credit cards give you. This is a special system that you use and the way you link your credit cards. It's legal, by the way. Nobody get any ideas. Okay, it's all legal. I wouldn't be teaching you that. January 18th, it is a virtual call. It is a Wednesday, I believe, at 7 p.m. EST time. So go to GarciaMHU.com. Go to our social media. It is linked all throughout. You can click on that. January 28th, it is the first shadow of the year. It is not a 2-day. A lot of people are asking. No, it is not a 2-day. It's going to be a 1 day because it's the first one of the year. And what happens is people are asking, what do we take away that it is no longer a 2 day? Well, we can make it a 3 day if y'all want. I'm plenty fine. I just got to get more speakers, more coaches, more mentors. I'm okay with that. But the thing is, I think that it's a little overwhelming. Is some of the feedback we got, and it's great information. But when you set people in a classroom all day long, and you just teach them about wholesale, renting, about contractors, handymans, about talking to park owners, managers, maximum allot offers, and then you got real estate coaches coming in and talking about assets and LLCs. It's overwhelming. I understand it. I don't want to do that to y'all. What I want to do is take the first one of the year and just teach you step by step how to invest in mobile homes. That's it. It's all about mobile homes here. Second part of the day is going to be a tour. Yes, we are still going to go out to a community. We're going to be reviewing mobile homes in and out. We're going to be grading mobile home parks. We're going to be talking to park owners, park managers, contractors. They're going to be with us. So you get to ask all your questions and get that real inside look at what it takes to be a mobile home investor. When we take you on these shadows, do not forget that we are taking you to where it is our inventory. So it is likely that you can invest in those homes on the spot. And we've seen that. It helps out for when we're doing closings because we get to teach people how we're doing an actually transaction. All right. January 13th. Okay. Friday coming up. Friday the 13th. I don't believe in that stuff, but it's Friday the 13th. I'm going to be in Tampa. We invested in a studio down in Tampa, Florida, LED Live Studio. Check it out. That is our newest investment. I'm going to be down there. We have a big event with some of our coaches. They're going to be conducting, and I was invited to attend, obviously, but during Friday, I'm going to be visiting a lot of the communities in the area because I do plan on hosting shadows in Tampa. So that's coming very soon as well. So what I'm going to do is any investors in the area who wants to come out and meet, maybe y'all want to see the studio or just connect with me. We may just have a little meet and greet with a bunch of investors in the area. So definitely send me an email if you want to do that, and I'll be sure to connect. All right. No questions. So awesome. So I'm gonna let's see. I think that was the last announcement. Yes, we got a couple of things coming up, but I'm gonna wait till Tuesday. So don't forget Tuesday, 7 p.m. EST time. Back here on Instagram Live. That's when we're gonna be pitching deals. Got a lot more opportunities coming for you all. So definitely tune into that. All right. That does it for me. I don't see any other questions. So send me email if you do. Thank you for watching.